This is a special edition of Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn. We are at SupplySide West in Las Vegas, and we're going to spend some time with Sandra Lee, who is the CEO of NJ Labs, NJ, New Jersey, and they've just celebrated their 85th anniversary. You look terrific for 85 years, right?
Thank you. It's the Asian genes.
Ah, I see. Tell us, first of all, what does NJ Labs do?
And New Jersey Laboratories is a third-party contract laboratory. So we work with a lot of manufacturers that are buying APIs or selling APIs, raw materials, excipients, anywhere from cosmetics to nutraceuticals to supplements and pharmaceutical products. Some food, but it's mostly nutraceutical and pharmaceutical.
You're actually kind of a guardian of consumers, aren't you?
Yes, so one of our principles is to making sure that whatever we do has a good positive impact on the industry. We go into testing because it's so critical that the consumers who are buying these products know what they're buying. And we are the gateway before everyone starts to consume it because they're trusting us, right? They're trusting the manufacturers and the testing laboratories that what we're putting out on the market is safe for them to consume. So we are kind of like guardian angels. It's the last stop before everyone starts to buy it on the shelves.
I think we should change the name. Guardian angels of people. One of the things that a lot of consumers in particular, and some manufacturers don't know, is that it's required to have third-party testing for nutraceuticals. Yes. Nutraceuticals are vitamins, by the way.
Right. It is a very good thing to have in regulations because, again, it's to protect the consumers. They don't know what they're buying, and they trust these labels. So a lot of these manufacturers, they have to test what they buy when it comes in, making sure it's not contaminated because anything can actually happen from shipping to receiving. So to receive it, you should always verify what you're buying is correct: identity, purity, potency. Heavy metals is a huge concern lately, especially in baby food. People have been talking about it more and more.
Oh my. One of the things that baby foods are now having heavy metal problems?
Yes, because keep in mind, baby food's organic or whatnot. It's made from plants, fruits, vegetables, and a lot of it gets sucked into the plant. And when they're extracting and pureeing the food, it's coming from plants, and they could have heavy metals in it. So that has become a hot topic lately, especially with parents. I have 3 kids of my own, so it's always been a concern.
You can always adopt me. So I guess what happens is that the vegetables, they're growing, they have
right.
heavy metals, and it's concentrated in the food.
It could be, and over time, babies don't have the capabilities to process. Most human beings don't have capabilities to process contaminants like heavy metals, arsenic, lead, cadmium, mercury. So we need to protect the kids. However, the argument on the flip side is, but it's natural, it's growing in the soil. How can you just separate out all those contaminants? It's in the environment. So there should be quite a bit of balance, and a lot of it can be protecting the consumers through testing properly.
And that testing, again, most consumers aren't aware that there are FDA regulations saying test product as it comes in,
yes,
as it goes into a capsule,
yes,
and when it's finally in that
done.
Formulation.
Right.
It's a 3-step process.
Yes.
It's a federal law.
During manufacturing, anything can happen. We have quality systems put in place, but again, you can't control every aspect from beginning to end. So you check to see if it's safe throughout the process by testing. That's how you can confirm it.
Absolutely. All right, we have to talk a little bit about Sandra Lee, okay? Sandra Lee and I had something in common, okay? We both sucked at chemistry in high school. First of all,
yes,
you have a degree in chemistry.
Yes, I have a bachelor's in science for chemistry, concentration in chemistry, and then I have a master's to teach chemistry, mostly at high school level because I love the education aspect. I believe science should be taught at a very young age. It shouldn't wait until 9th grade or 10th grade. It should be built into our educational system, which right now there's deficiencies.
Absolutely.
So I went into that as well.
Well, I can remember blowing up a desk in 7th grade science class. But women today, science offers so many opportunities. And somebody who in high school didn't do so well in chemistry, you're now teaching it at a high school level, whoa, or have the ability to do that. You're too busy running NJ Labs.
Yes.
Is this a good thing? I mean, for women to look into engineering, chemistry, physics as careers. They didn't used to do that.
Right. Even growing up, I had a lot of pressure. You had to do sports, play 3 instruments, or get straight A's, take all the AP and honors courses that they offer, and that's physically impossible. But I got very lucky at that. I have a very strong mother who pushed me to the very ends. And I have also, out of my 3 kids, I have 2 daughters. And I think growing up in the Asian community, you're expected to do certain things. And when I kind of broke that mold, it was hard. It was hard as a female, it's hard as an Asian. And it's even more difficult in an industry that is not female dominant either. You know, we're trying to find that balance. We're working together. And I have the privilege and the honor to work with an amazing, well-balanced management team. You know, half men, half female, all different backgrounds. Does not matter where they're from. And so I think we got really, really lucky with NJ Labs and our staff.
Which brings the question up, a young woman became the CEO of a big company.
So before I got to this point, a lot of doors shut in my face. I got turned down by J&J, Colgate, Bristol Myers Squibb. Then nobody wanted to hire me. There was this period where I took time off to be a mother. And after my divorce, I really wanted to get back into what I love doing. And it was so hard to find a job. And it was, unless I knew somebody, it was very difficult. New Jersey Laboratories had started out as a very small company, and now we've grown quite a bit in the last several years. I got very lucky because my boss who hired me was also female. You know, she wasn't an Asian minority, but she was a female, and she was all about sharing everything that she knew with me. And I hope that I can do the same thing for other females too.
Your 2 daughters, how old are they?
I have an 11-year-old and 14. I feel like that's a pop quiz because half the time I get it wrong.
Oh, okay. So which one knows everything?
The 14-year-old. She is my mini me. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but man, she has an attitude. She is so sassy, and I'm so glad that she's a strong, individual young woman.
I think that's terrific. We need more of that. We need more women in science, in media, in everything, because everybody should have the same equal rights. I'm going to ask you. I'm doing a semi-regular program on bigotry and hatred. And have you run into the Asian hate that has permeated the news in the last few months?
Yes. So going to a grocery store, I went one time with my brother. And I was looking for something in particular, and he's like, stop touching everything. Everyone's staring at you. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And they were standing about a few feet away from us and just watching me go, just lift a couple of boxes because I was looking for something in particular and I couldn't find it. And I was like, you know what, I don't even want to buy it. So for some time, I didn't even go grocery shopping. I did everything online from an app. I wasn't afraid, but it was just too much of a hassle the last few months. And thankfully at our company we are so diverse that I didn't experience anything like that, and I don't think anyone else did in the company, and we tried to keep it very well educated and diverse.
Right.
But outside of the company in our safe zone, we did experience that. I was for some time afraid to go out by myself.
Oh my.
You know?
I've had some hatred, some prejudice, but nothing like that. Come on, people, get it together. We're all people. Your daughters, either one interested in science, or are they going to go into media, and Amy and I will talk them out of that?
So I don't know, but if they get anything less than an A in science, I'm like, whose kid are you? Like, you have a mom and a dad who's really good at math and science, and what happened? But they're really interested in it. I don't know if they want to make a career out of it, but they're interested in the fact that, like, they're like, do you run a company? Are you the manager? Are you the boss? And I'm like, what are you more interested in? The fact that I have power and I can exercise it, or the fact that I'm in science? My oldest maybe, she's really, she's very invested in learning the science classes and the English and the writing right now. But I'm not sure what she's going to do, and I don't think I want to put that same pressure. I just want her to have a positive influence in this, maybe this industry or another industry.
Having a positive childhood at the same time. Not 3 instruments?
No, I have offered, and they're like, no, no, and their response is, well, my friends, I don't really care if my friends do it. You know, it's something that we would want to do if we want to.
Right.
I do have a baby grand piano. And at the beginning, I was like, don't touch. And it was a mistake. After about a week, I said, okay, you guys can touch, you can explore. And so they got their iPad and downloaded some apps, and they were playing it for a little bit. But they lose interest, you know, like all kids.
Right.
My mom, she was very, very stubborn. So she said, you're not quitting anything until you have accomplished everything that you could. But music became an outlet for me, just like sports. When it was difficult, because in my high school, there was only 5 Asians growing up. Okay. And so we kind of faced that hatred since a young age, getting made fun of for our eyes or our hair color or skin color. I learned to ignore it, but sometimes it's difficult.
It's terrible. There's ageism, anti-Semitism, anti-Asian, anti-Black. I've never understood that. In our remaining couple of moments, let's go back and talk about NJ Labs. One of the things here at SupplySide West is there are so many companies that are promoting CBD. Are you doing testing on CBD?
So actually, it's a little bit different from what other companies are doing. We've been in the space for marijuana testing since 6 years ago. I had seen it, that it was going to become something that could grow into a real industry like it has today. And we had worked with the FDA and the DEA to submit proposals, how we're going to test, what kind of instrumentation we're going to use, and what we're going to do with it about 6 years ago. And it took us 2 years to get the license, but we got it. And we have been working with a couple of companies who were in that space for medicinal purposes. As CBD became federally legal, or in terms of hemp-derived products became federally legal, we have gone more into that space. I've been talking to so many people, they said, I've Googled this, I Googled that, and I was like, I know, Google has so much great information. But what we wanted to challenge was, what's the difficulty of testing for cannabis products? What's the science behind it? And what have we seen in the last 2 years during development and validation purposes? Because right now there's no regulations. So we're treating it as if FDA has already set in, and cannabinoids testing for heavy metals, micro residual solvents, mycotoxins, all that as if it's a pharmaceutical product already. Wow. So if you start at a higher standard, it's so much easier.
And at the same time, do you test to make sure that the milligrams, the amount
potency,
of
yes.
the potency?
Yes. The biggest complaint in this industry right now is inconsistencies in results, right? Between laboratories, between different companies, different batches, or even repeat testing on the same batch, right? Why are we getting different results? And that's because when you test at a single data point, you don't see what's really going on behind the scenes. The stuff, when we look at a solution, it's clear to the naked eye, it looks good, right? But there are things that the instrumentation can see that we can't see.
Absolutely.
And you need to develop appropriate methods and then validate it for ruggedness, robustness, so it's consistent in the future.
Seniors should know that if you're interested in learning about what you're taking,
yes.
They could go to your website, I believe, and learn about testing and why it's important to have your products examined and scientifically evaluated. I've said this before. Almost every major ingredient company has the word science in their taglines, because it's so important right now to know that supplements are scientifically based. gets me so upset. I'm getting, right?
Right, and there's so many different questions that people have. So we are actually in the process of recording a new mini-series podcast/video to talk about what we've learned. Not to show that we're better or what other companies are not doing, but just what we've learned. And we'd like to share that knowledge because sharing is caring in this case, not during COVID times, but in case of education, we're all about consumer safety because we don't want any products out there. Our families are taking these products. We want to make sure it's safe.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, last point here. We have a sister program called Mark Alyn Cooks Your Dinner. Do you cook at home?
I do cook, but my brother's the chef. I enjoy cooking Korean food, and I think I'm pretty decent at it.
Ooh, that's my favorite food.
So there's LA actually has really good Korean food. Las Vegas actually does too. So yeah, I do enjoy cooking if I'm cooking for people, but for myself, not as much.
Well, maybe you'll come in and give me a recipe and cook with us, okay? Sure. All right, that'd be great. Kimchi is one of my favorite things. I always have at least one kind in my refrigerator.
That's amazing.
Somebody told me I was Asian in my last life.
You know, kimchi keeps you young.
I'm sorry?
Kimchi keeps you young.
Yes. Oh, it's probiotic too.
Yeah, it's
right?
really good for you.
Really, really good for you. The radish, I won't get going. NJ Labs, njlabs.com?
Yes, www.njlabs.com is our website.
All right, this is Late Night Health. I'm Mark Alyn. We'll see you soon.